Hey, Ocklawahaboy Rocks here, and I'm going to do a short rock hounding video at a place where everybody's got a rock hounding video. I'm stopping at the Vernon Wonderstone quarry. So this is after my trip to the Dugway geode beds. It's a really logical stop when you come out the Pony Express Road. It's just a little zig and a zag, a few miles for Utah. It's a ways, but it's a real logical stop when you get done. And I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of it in the video, and then I've actually been there before, so I might pull out some of the material I found the first time, pull out the material I found this time, and see if I learned anything and maybe brought back some better material. We'll see. So let's get out there to Vernon, show you what it looks like out there, and then we'll get back and look at the material. Hey, Ocklawahaboy Rocks. Another return trip to a location I did not make a video. Now everyone's made videos here. This is the Vernon Wonderstone quarry. So I'm not going to make this a long one. I want to look around in this little stuff and get me a few pounds. I keep saying I'm going to start my tumblers back up. So I want a few pounds for that. I want to find a few pieces to slab, and I'll be out of here. All right, this is an area where it looks like someone just offloaded some rock. So I'm going to start here. There's several different, almost different kinds of this banded rhyolite here. And all of it kind of looks different and works different. So I'm going to pick a few pieces from this area. You can see what that looks like wet. It's going to be pretty stuff, so I'll grab some of this. These pieces with the complete circles and the banding seem to be kind of what everyone wants. I don't know if this particular piece looks a little porous. Not sure that it's going to take much of a shine, but I'm going to throw it in there. Almost every piece you pick up has some charm to it. Then there's pieces like this that are just fabulous. A lot of these big pieces, they don't look like much. Some of them will just have a little window with some promise. So I'm going to take a few of them and cut them open, and I might be disappointed with stuff like this, or I might have something really good, kind of like cutting open a thunder egg. All right, I've got most of a bag there. Sorry about the shadow. I've got some pieces to slab, and then a great big piece that's tempting, but I don't know. Part of me likes the yellow color. I look at that banding there and that chip. What a pretty cab to cut some pieces where I could dome a cab. That's almost a whole flat rate box to get that home. So 22 bucks to get that home. I don't know. I'll decide in a minute. All right, I am headed out from the Vernon Wonderstone quarry. I will see you next time. Okay, here's 3 boxes of Wonderstone from Vernon. This was from 2020, maybe? And these were from 2022. It's going to be really hard to say which one's better, but I'm going to pull up a lid here, and I'm going to pull out some representative pieces of what I brought back. Then I'm going to cut said pieces. Well, we'll spritz them first, and then we'll cut them. And we'll see if we can say what we like better. Okay, those of you who have been there will already know these porous pieces are not what you're looking for. Okay, so I've got some with some banding. And, you know, these, benefit of the doubt, we'll just kind of spray down the box here. Okay, maybe that one would be a better one than some of what I pulled out. And maybe this one would be a better one. Sure doesn't look like much on this side. It looks reasonable on that side. So there's the ones we're going to look at to represent 2020. Okay, here we go for 2022. Now, I brought back a fair amount with the idea of maybe tumbling someday. I don't know why I do that, because I never tumble anything. Okay, so there's some of the 2022 material. You can see I didn't spend a ton of time high grading stuff. I think it already looks better. Spray down the... Well, let me pull out maybe one that doesn't look so impressive. Maybe a second one that doesn't look so impressive, because I've got a couple in there I know don't look so impressive. So this is what we're going to look at for 2022. Okay, I've cut some Wonderstone here. Now both of these, even though they might not look like the same location, I promise you, I picked these up in Vernon, Utah in 2020. These up in Vernon, Utah in 2022. Parked the truck in the same place and everything. So we're going to look at these, see what they look like. We'll start over here with the ones I picked up first. Now on both of them I grabbed some that were maybe a little better and maybe a little more boring. So we'll kind of start here. Yeah. Not much to that. And so what happens to rocks like this at my place, see that little spot there? There they go. So look at some more. Okay, it's got a little something to it. So if you're looking at that like it's, a picture stone, it's not awful. This one over here, that's pretty. Not the best cut that I made, but pretty. There's another pretty boring one there. And then this one, you can see how porous that is. It will not polish for anything, but the pattern is all right. And that's another one with a little bit of pattern to it, but pretty low quality rock. Another all right one. And this is probably the best one of the batch, so I took a slab out of it. I can come back and cab. It's a fairly, smooth, it should take a polish, and a decent pattern. Okay, so that's a cross section of the 2020 trip. Okay, now a cross section of the 2022, and again I purposely picked out some that looked a little more boring, and this was probably the most boring one of the batch, but still compared with a lot of these it would hold its own. What do we want to look at next? Let's come over here. I think this one is probably the lowest quality stone as far as lapidary, but it's a very pretty pattern. Put that here. And let's go over here. Very nice. Unfortunately, it was already broken. I think someone had hit it with a hammer, so I lost the other part of that pattern, but very nice. One of these little ones. Not bad. What else have I got? Got this one. And I cut that one a couple of different ways to see the pattern. I like it. I like this one. That end cut would probably make a real nice cab. This stone was like in a lot of little sections and fell apart, but I still think you could get something out of that if you wanted to. There's that one is nice. And then this, I should have cut a little further into it. This is the classic Wonderstone. Once I cut another 1/2 inch back in there, that pattern will be complete. So that one's a real keeper. All right, so let's look at this. What I went through and picked up in 2020, what I picked up on my second trip in 2022 from the same location. You can let me know in the comments which you think is better, but I think I know which batch I like better. And this side's missing the one that I just completely chucked over the fence too. Alright, that's the Vernon Wonderstone quarry. It's one of those shooting fish in a barrel kind of spots. There's tons of material all over the place. But what I really want to leave you with this video is that if you've been to a location, you're not really happy with what you brought back, or maybe you even are happy with it. If you're back in the area, it's worth another stop back by most of the time. You saw how much I improved picking out the material between the two trips just by bringing some stuff home. I of course had already cut some material from what I brought back, and I knew how mediocre it was. So when I went back, I really knew what I was looking for. So it just, almost any location you go to is going to be worth a second trip. I had that, same experience going back to Dugway the second time, and if I'm ever lucky enough to get out there for a third time, of course things will have changed because thousands of people will have dug in between, but I will ignore those pits and go straight to the bare ground where I was finding things before. And it was similar with the Vernon. First time I wandered all over those hills, wasted a bunch of time. This time I stayed in the piles by the parking lot, found great stuff, and I actually spent less time there the second time than I did the first time and got much better stuff. So that's the moral of the story. Second trip is almost always better than the first. So that's got me really looking forward to some return trips I have planned for later this summer. So I will see you next time.